and welcome to your very own BYJU'S 6th, 7th and 8th grade channel. I'm your teacher Aishwarya and I welcome you to this amazing class of Exam Edge where we will be helping you prep for your half-yearly exams. And as you can see, the chapter that we're going to kickstart off from grade 8 science is going to be crop production and management. So I hope all of you here are excited for today's class, and very quickly students, please do let me know if my audio, my video and my screen and whatever I'm writing on the screen is visible to all of you. If it is, students, give me a quick thumbs up in the live chat to let me know that we are good to go. Now of course I can see that since this particular class is being live streamed, I came a little late than when it was scheduled. As you know, there was a class happening here before. We had a lot of things to set up in the live class as well, which is why it took a slight bit of delay. I apologize sincerely. I don't intentionally make you wait for a long period of time. You know I don't like making you wait, right? But of course, students, I hope all of you are excited. Yes, hello, good evening. Ravi, two things. If you could increase the font size a little bit by one tad and that water bottle there. Yes. Good evening, everybody. Riya, Anna, lovely, Anubhav. I can see Savitri, Ujjwal, Anushka, Aarti, Riya, Shrujal. Shrujal Bacha, very sorry. He's like, ma'am, late award goes to you. Really sorry for that. Like I said, the reason is because we had a lot of setup to do, right? Good evening, everyone. Good evening. So what can we expect in this particular class today? As we all know, as a part of Exam Edge series, we are going to be covering the important concepts that are there from this particular chapter, which means I will be doing an entire chapter summary for all of you, right? And we will be doing it from the chapter Crop Production and Management. And this chapter is a very big chapter, which is why we're going to take a little bit more time, maybe about half an hour to 40 minutes in order to cover the entire chapter. And this is one of the important chapters from grade 8 science. Now, along with this, we will be solving 15 very important questions. And as you can see, we have put it on the screen for all of you. Today, we will be having a Menti quiz as well, right? So, these 15 questions that we're going to be doing are of different levels. You will have 5 very easy questions, 5 which are intermediate, and you will have 5 higher order questions which are commonly asked in Olympiad as well. So, I hope all of you are excited. If you are, very quickly students, do not forget to hit the like button on this video. Please make sure you share this video with all of your friends because it's going to be helpful for everybody who watches it. And last but not the least, do not forget to hit the subscribe button on the channel because nowhere else will you find amazing quality content, right? That is my guarantee to you. So good evening, Prisha and many others. Happy birthday to you, Shiva. Hope you had an amazing day today. Yes? Okay. So now, of course, in case if any of you want in-depth concept explanations, we have already done in-depth concept explanations on the channel. And as you can see, we have taken subtopic by subtopic. So starting from soil preparation to addition of nutrients, irrigation, removal of weeds, harvesting, storage, animal husbandry. And of course, right, if you want the entire chapter explanation, this is also available in one shot, right? So students, you can check these links. It's available in the description below. You can go ahead. Now, very important thing as to where will we find the notes, right? The notes will be available in the description of this video, and of course, it will be there in the pinned comments. Now, in case if it is not available at the moment, of course, when it is being live streamed, much after the live stream tomorrow, you will be able to get it, right? And it is going to be available for all of you. So, are we all excited? If you are, do not forget. Yes, like I said, if it is not available right now, it is going to be available for all of you by the end, right? And of course, the update will come on the Telegram channel for all of you. Now, I know you are a little bit young to be in Telegram. You're still in grade 8, right? So, I always tell you, if you're not part of the Telegram channel, request your parents to join on your behalf so that they can give you the updates, right? Okay. So quick reminder on what we can expect today. We will be having a chapter revision, we will be doing important topics, and we are going to be covering important questions as well, right? Okay, so first and foremost, let's get started with the chapter revision and important topics. Now, as you all know, we have this interesting thing going on, which is homework heroes. Now I've seen that many of you would also say, ma'am, what about homework heroines? You can be homework heroes, homework heroines, whatever you want to be, right? So of course, in the end of this class, I will be giving you a homework and you have to say, I am a homework hero / heroine, right? Now in case if you write that term and you give me the answer, you stand a chance to be featured on the BYJU'S official 6 to 8 channel community post where we will be picking some of the best answers, right? So you need to make sure that all of you write the answers, because I know all of you want to be a homework hero or a homework heroine, and I know that you're all excited. So very quickly, everybody, do not forget to let me know that, right? Awesome. Okay. So of course, with this, everybody, let's get started. Okay. Good evening, all of you. Good evening. Yes. Okay. Are we ready? Are we ready to get started today? Ma'am, where should I submit the homework? In the comments of the video after the live stream has ended, in the comments, right? So now, of course, we're looking at the chapter crop production and management. Yes. So when you talk about crop production and management, in a large scale, we are talking about food. Now, simply if I tell you, why should we learn about this, right? What is the need behind this chapter and why should we learn about this chapter? Food that is there, of course, is necessary for all of us, right? Because we need food in order to fuel our body and in order to carry out our day-to-day basis. Yes. So now, of course, over a period of time, we know that the number of people who want this food, right? The number of people who want this food is more. The population, or simply said, the population has been increasing considerably, right? Which is why the demand for food has also gone up. Now, since there is a demand for food, we know that we have to cultivate the food at a large scale, right? So here we are talking about cultivating. When I say cultivating, it is nothing but growing food. Yes, growing these food items that are there at a large scale. Yes. Now when I say food, where am I getting my food from? Very quickly. What are my two sources of food? Yes. Jaldi se, menti shuru hoga in another 25 minutes. Anubhav. 25 minutes. Very good. Where do we get it from? So when you broadly talk about it, food that is there, we know that food can be plant-based, and we know that food that is there is animal-based, right? The food that we eat. So when we talk about large-scale cultivation, we're talking about cultivating animals and plants at a large scale. And this is nothing but what we know as agriculture, right? So this practice of growing crops or cultivating plants that are important to us, and rearing livestock or animals from which we get food and animal based food items at a large scale, right? It's not just growing two plants. The two plants, if you grow one tomato plant in your house, that is not called agriculture, because you are growing only one single tomato plant. But here we are talking about cultivating it at a large scale, right? So that is what we understand as agriculture. So what are the 2 points? Cultivating crops. And now we know why we need to do it at a large scale, right? And rearing the livestock as well. Yes? Now, of course, here we'll focus first on we will talk about cultivating crops. Now, the word crop is not very new to us, because often we read about this word crop, we keep reading about it or hearing about it. So, what exactly is a crop? Now, crops are basically nothing but plants, right? And it's just that when one type of plant is cultivated in one field, that is what we call as a crop. So, if I have a piece of land, right, and I only grow rice, yes, I only grow rice here. What is happening? The plant of the same kind is cultivated at a large scale in a single piece of land. And this is what we call as crops, right? So we see that rice, coffee, mangoes, cotton, sugarcane, coconuts. We know that these are all very important to us, right? Which is why in this particular case, if you see, these are all considered to be crops. Now, of course, if I have to talk about, let's say, rice. So we have all these examples with us, no? Rice, we have wheat, we have mangoes, coconut, all of this, we have so many different examples. Now my question to all of you, right? My question to all of you is, do you think that all plants require the same type of conditions to grow? Yes or no? Yes? So my question to you is, we have so many different kinds of plants and they're all found in different parts of our country. Now, do you think that all plants require the same kind of climatic conditions to grow? Yes or no? No, right? Different plants grow in different climatic conditions, which means that broadly, based on my climatic conditions, I see that I am able to categorize my crops, right? And we see that crops that are there can be classified based on the seasons in which they grow, right? So we are able to categorize these crops based on the seasons in which they grow. Now, very quickly, can you tell me what could be the possible types in the chat? You can give me the number. Are there 2 kinds or are there 3 kinds? Yes? 2 kinds or 3 kinds of it? Very quickly, everybody. Yes? Okay. 2, 3, 2, 3. Very good, very good. Those of you who have given me the answer as 2, you are correct. Those of you who have given me the answer as 3, you are also correct. Because those of you who are telling me 2, as per NCERT, you have only 2 types. But you and I both know that there is one more type that is there. So broadly, if you see, as per NCERT, you have Tariff Crops and you have Rabi Crops. Then another category that is going to be there is going to be your Z crops, right? So basically, as per your textbook, you just need to know these 2, nothing more than that, right? So this is something we are going to focus on. So first and foremost, let us talk about Tariff Crops. Now, Tariff crops are also called as monsoon crops, right? They are also called as monsoon crops. Yes, they are also called as monsoon crops. Technically, if you see the word Tariff that is there means autumn, right? So these are crops whose seeds are sown during the rainy season, and we see that they are harvested normally during September-October time, right? Which means they are fully grown and cultivated during September-October time. Now, some examples that are there include your RMC. Easy way to remember. Tariff crop ka is RMC. That is, you have your rice, you have maize, and you have cotton, right? Now, these are 3 examples you can easily remember. Now, apart from that, you have soybean and groundnuts, which are also examples of Tariff crops. Now, in your exam, this topic is important because easily 2-mark question can come or 3-mark question can come asking you to differentiate between Tariff and Rabi crops, right? So they will ask you to differentiate between Tariff and Rabi crops. So students, please make sure that you star mark this particular point, right? This is very, very important. Yes? Very good, Dolly. It came in your unit test 1, which means that chances of this question coming in your half-yearly exam is also very high, right? Okay. Now, of course, the next topic that is there is your Rabi crops, right? Now, Rabi crops are also known as winter crops, right? So, we call Rabi crops as winter crops because they are sown during the winter season. Now, we see that they are normally sown during October, November time, and we see that they are harvested, right? So, we see that they are harvested normally during Feb, March, around that time. Yes? So this is again another example of your Rabi crops. Now, what would be the way or what are some examples? Easy thing to remember is PWC, right? PWC, or you can put something else also. In this case, yeah, sorry, it is BMW. I forgot. It is BMW. So just like a car, your Rabi crop is a car, right? BMW car. So what is BMW? You have barley, you have mustard, right? And then you have wheat, right? So these are all some examples of Rabi crops. Apart from that, as you can all see, you have gram, you have peas, right? They are all examples of the same. Simba, why are you unnecessarily distracting the class, right? If you want me to take your name, you just tell me, ma'am, take my name and you will get that attention. But why are you distracting the others, right? Why are you distracting? Now, quick questions that I'd like to take, right? Quick questions. So, first and foremost, friction ka we will tell Saurabh sir. Okay, Saurabh sir will do that. Now, of course, the next one that is there is wheat in Tariff and Rabi growth. See, here we're talking about naturally when they're grown. But over a period of time, as we all know, we know that in this particular case, we see that due to agricultural techniques and advancement in agriculture, we are able to cultivate crops across seasons, right? But naturally, these are the seasons. Ma'am, when are Tariff Crops harvested? They are harvested in the September, October time, right? So they are harvested around this time. Happy birthday to Mayank and Rafael and many others who have your birthdays today. I wish you a lot of love, right? Yes. I know I'm in a studio which does not have AC. They're still fixing it, so we are feeling like divas again when my hair is flying. There's a panka in front of me. Okay. So far, are we clear? 3 marks if you get this question. We know what to do. Yes or no? Right? Are we all clear? We know what to do. Yes or no? Because students, if you pay attention in my class, I am teaching so slowly today that you will understand. You are definitely going to understand. That is my guarantee to you, that you will understand. And end May Menti is also going to happen. So don't worry about it. Right? Awesome. Okay. You just keep paying attention to me. If video is not clear, increase the settings. Help your friends. Okay? Yes, ma'am, when is Rabi crops grown? Rabi crops are sown during the October-November time, right? Okay, very good, very good. Yes, moving on to the next one. Yes, I'll do a mind map session also. BMW is a short form I keep to remember example, so you can take a screenshot. That is barley, mustard and wheat. Now, this is some extra information, right? Some extra information is on Z crops. Now, Z crops that are there are, they are like a short cropping season. So this is a short cropping season which is present between Kharif and Rabi seasons, right? So they are a short cropping season which is present between Kharif and Rabi and is normally called as summer crops, right? Now in this case we see that they are normally sown during March time and they are harvested by end of May, right? Very short. So we see that, again a simple way to remember this is PWC, right? What is P? P for pumpkin, W for watermelon, right? And C here for cucumber. So with this easy way, you will be able to remember the examples, right? Now, corn that is there is a type. Another name for corn is maize. So maize is a Tariff crop, right, Simba? Hope we are clear. Yes? Okay, now students telling me take my name and all of that. You understand that the more I'm going to spend taking your names, the more Menti is going to get delayed. Do you want Menti to get delayed? No, right? You want Menti to happen as soon as possible, which is why I request all of you to please make sure that you unnecessarily don't spam all this, right? I'll take your names ample amount of time during Menti, but when I'm teaching you, you pay attention. We want no delay for Menti, okay? Yes, awesome. So now we will move on to the next one, right? So we have understood that agriculture is a process by which we see that there are various crops that are grown at a large scale, right? So they are grown at a large scale. Now it is not that I decide that, hey, I want to do agriculture. I will take some seeds, put it in the soil, done. My agriculture steps are done. It is not as simple as just saying that, hey, I'll take some seeds, throw it in soil and my crop is grown, my plant is grown. No, we see that there needs to be certain steps that need to be taking place, especially when we are cultivating it at a large scale, right? Which is why we see that there are 7 important, right? We say that there are 7 important steps that come into the picture. So in this case, we see that the first step is preparation of soil, followed by which I will sow my seeds. Then I will add nutrients to my soil, irrigate my soil, make sure that I'll get rid of unnecessary weeds. I will harvest my soil, I'll harvest my crops. And finally, I will store my crops, right? So these are the 7 steps which are involved in agriculture. And these 7 steps are very, very important. They can ask you in the examination, right? You can get a 3-mark question on this, or you can get a 2-mark question asking you to elaborate what are the steps of agricultural practices that are involved, right? So please write down the steps as well. Ma'am, I did not understand the second step. I will teach you the second step, Rafael. Don't worry. I'm going to teach all of this in great detail. Yes, Joy, watermelon is a Z crop. So for those of you who are confused about that, watermelon that is there is a Z crop. Ma'am, it is difficult to remember months. Easy peasy. If Kharif is monsoon, sown in monsoon. When is monsoon season? June, July. So think of it that way. From there 3 months you calculate. Easy peasy. Yes? I will elaborate. I am going to elaborate on all of this, right? So don't worry about it. Yes? Okay. See, we will teach those chapters, but right now when I've come planned with crop production, it is not going to be easy for me to teach another chapter, no? So please pay attention. Why isn't storage there? Storage is there in the list, right? It is there. Now I will move on. So shall we discuss the first step, which is preparation of soil? So shall we move on to step number 1? Yes? We will move on to step number 1, which is preparation of soil. Yes? Fatafat, हाँ मैं फटाफट just I request you all that you all pay attention in class. The revision will happen आराम से, right? Okay. Step number 1 is preparation of soil. Now when we talk about preparation of soil, we know that especially when it comes to growing plants, soil is very, very important. Why is soil very important? You can tell me in the live chat right now. Yes, why is soil important for growing plants? We've been learning about this right from our lower grades, right? We know that in soil there is something which is necessary for the plants to grow, right? Why is soil important? Very good, Raman. Very good, Surinder, right? Yes, exactly. Soil has a lot of nutrients in them, right? We know that soil has a lot of nutrients or minerals that are necessary for the plants to grow. We know that soil has various microorganisms or microbes that help in the growth, right? And we also see that there are various organic matter, or we have humus in it as well, which makes the soil fertile. Yes, and I know that soil is home to these microbes as well, which is why we see that for crops to grow effectively, preparing the soil is very important, right? Now we know that the part of the plant which anchors or needs the soil is mainly the roots, right? So we see that if the soil is not prepared, then it's difficult for the roots to grow, and in order for it to, sort of grow properly inside the soil. Which is why normally when we say preparing soil, it means to loosen the soil, right? We need to make sure that if I have a tight, you imagine you take some soil and you pack it tightly inside a beaker. It will be very difficult for the roots to grow as the root is growing inside this, right? If a root has to grow inside this, it will be so difficult for the root to move. But if I had made this very loose, right? If the soil was very loose, then it's going to be very easy for the root to grow, right? It will be very simple for it to grow, which is why we will penetrate, or what we will do, we will loosen the soil and we will turn the soil, right? And this process of loosening and turning the soil is what we call as tilling or plowing, right? So this is what we will call the process. Now why are we doing this? Because we know that it will loosen the soil. And if the soil is made loose, we see that it will allow the roots to penetrate, right? This will allow roots to penetrate into the soil, and they will also be able to breathe easily, right? Now along with that, it also allows for the growth of microorganisms. We know that there are various soil microbes that are necessary for making the soil making sure that there are a lot of nutrients which are present, right? Because we know that microorganisms that are there, they help with the process of decomposition, right? We have learnt about this. What is decomposition? When dead, I think it's getting hidden behind me. When dead organisms, right, when dead plants and animals are broken down, we know that they are broken down into simple forms, right? We see that they are broken down into simple forms that are there, which act as nutrients for the plant, right? So they act as nutrients for the plant, which is why we see that earlier when I said soil as nutrients, we see that those nutrients are coming because of these microbes. Those microbes are breaking down dead plants and animals, getting rid or, making sure that all the nutrients come out of it or all the organic matter comes out, right? And thereby the soil is fertile, right? So we see that this is very, very important. Now apart from that, we also see that the soil is home to a farmer's friend, right? Who is the farmer's friend? Can you tell me? Yes or no? Who is the farmer's friend? It is home to the farmer's friend. I know you know who is the farmer's friend, right? Yes, very good. It is the earthworm. So we know that earthworms also loosen and aerate the soil, right? So we know that soil, or preparing soil and maintaining it, is very, very important. Now earthworms are commonly known as farmers' friends because they also help in improving the fertility of the soil. Now when you hear the word fertility, it is nothing but it improves the amount of nutrients which are present. It is as simple as that, right? Now the reason why I told you this whole story is because when you loosen and turn the soil, it actually mixes the soil nutrients uniformly, right? So I am able to make sure that all the nutrients are spread across easily. Not that one part of the soil has a lot of nutrients, other side has no nutrients, right? Everything is mixed equivalently. Yes? So with this, of course, we see that, quickly to recall, preparation of soil is loosening and turning the soil, right? And this process of loosening and turning the soil is what we call as tilling or plowing. Now, why should we do tilling and plowing? Because we see that it allows the roots to penetrate deep into the soil and, of course, allows for it to breathe easily. Secondly, we see that it aids in the growth of microorganisms. Thirdly, we see that it mixes the nutrients uniformly. Now in some cases, right, Samir, I've just revised. Now in some cases, what will happen? We see that the soil will be very dry, right? How many of you have noticed this? The soil will be very dry. Like it's very difficult to, break it, right? It's very difficult to sort of break the soil or to loosen and turn the soil. It will look very dry and very hard, right? Now in such cases, it becomes very difficult to do this process of tilling and plowing, right? So what will happen? What should we do? Sometimes we see that it could be dry. Now in other cases, we see that there could also be a lot of clumps of soil, right? There could be clumps of soil where it's not uniformly loose, but they'll be like big clumps and rocks of sorts, soil rocks of sorts, right? So what should we do? When it is dry, mix some water, right? So we mix some water here to make the soil damp and then do the process of plowing, right? And in some cases, if there are clumps, we should use leveler, right? So we see that we can use certain tools that are there to level the soil, right? So this process, right, this process of making sure that all the clumps are gotten rid of is what we call as leveling. So you have this point also in your textbook. Preparation of soil is very easy. It's just that it's a little long, that's all, right? This is called as leveling of soil. It is done with the help of a leveler, okay? Now, going back, I told you that we have to till and plow and do all this hard work. How will we do all of this? We will do it with the help of some tools, right? Now, if you want to do gardening, do you think that just with soil alone you will be able to do it? Do you think soil and one seed you will be able to do gardening? Can you say that? You can't, no? You can't just take soil and you're like, ma'am, I'm done, I can do this, right? Absolutely not. You require a pot, you require some garden tools, right? So you require all of these things, which is why tools are essential, yes? So similarly, we see that in the case of traditional methods, we see that there are some traditional tools which we can use. Now, what do I mean by traditional tools? These traditional tools are nothing but those which are manual. That means that I have to be the one doing the hard work, right? I need to do the hard work. So in this particular case, plow, hoe are all examples of the same. So we see that plow that is there, we know that it has this triangular part and we know that it has a shaft, right? And it has a plowshare and we know that normally it can be used manually or it can be attached to the maybe a bull so that it can be utilized, right? And then we also have hoe that is there which is utilized for the same. But of course, imagine some 2-3 acres of land, if manually, if you're going to be doing it, it's going to take a lot of time, right? So we see that it's going to take a lot of time to do that, which is why we see that over a period of time, we have shifted to some modern tools, right? We've shifted to modern tools so that people can, use or cover large areas of land, right? So we have a cultivator which helps us in doing this, right? So this right here is going to be very, very important. Yes? Okay. So there's a question, Nikhil, right? So I will quickly let you know, right? Maybe towards the end, I will let you know. Yes? Okay. Moving on to the next one. Ma'am, why do Tariff Crops? Sachi, when I do irrigation, I will tell you, right? I will tell you when we do the topic of irrigation. Yes? So this was all about preparation of soil. Now, on a scale of 1 to 10, are we feeling confident, right? Are we all feeling confident? See, I will tell you where I will take time. I will take time in doing preparation of soil. Sowing is an easy topic. Manure is easy. Nutrients is easy, but I will take some time here. Irrigation may also I will take time. Baki jaldi ho jayega. Okay? But these three you have to pay or be little patient with me. Please don't be like, ma'am, jaldi karo, jaldi karo, jaldi karo. If I'm staying and I'm telling you I'm going to help you with, I'm going to help you with the chapter summary, it is very important, right? Awesome. Okay, very good, very good. Now, crumbs are nothing, not crumb, it's clump, right? Clump is basically when you take many of it and they're clumped up into like balls or an irregular structure. That's what we call as clump, Manaswini, right? Yes. Ma'am, is tilling crop rotation? No. Plowing is also known as tilling, right? Yes. Humus that is there is basically the organic layer, right? Which has a lot of nutrient, your microorganisms, right? That is what it is. Yes? Ma'am, when I do weedicides, I will take that topic. Don't worry. Yes? Difference between plow and hoe, structurally they are different, right? Parts wise they are different. Functionally they help in the same thing, right? Aid means to support. Okay? Ma'am, cultivators can't be used in small plots, right? It depends on how small you are looking at, right? Small definition is very vague. What is your definition of small? So that is what we want to understand. Yes? Okay. Let's move on to the next one, which is going to be sowing, right? Abhi humne soil prepare kar diya. Next, plant that is there has to come, right? So plant has to come, which means that if I need to put my crop, where will I put it? I have to put it in the soil. And this process, right, in this process of putting my seeds in the soil, right, is what you call as sowing. Yes? So now of course here as you can see there's some information on leveling as well, but quickly to going on talking about seeds, we know that sowing is the process of adding seeds to the soil, right? So this is what we understand as sowing. Now, can I take any seed that I want? I go to the market, I'm like, okay, give me 100 tomato seeds because I want to have a tomato garden, right? Or I want to have a agricultural field with tomatoes. Now in this case, if I go and I ask them, give me 100 seeds. And if I plant all those 100 seeds, am I being smart? Am I being smart about it by just buying whatever it is and sowing, right? Absolutely not. Because we know that we should have proper seeds, right? Or rather we should have healthy seeds. Yes? Now why is healthy seeds necessary? Because we know that healthy seeds that are there or viable seeds that are there should be able to withstand diseases. It should not be something that it easily, dies, right? If it gets a disease, it should not easily die. And of course, it should give me high yield. If I'm putting a seed, I should get at least 20 tomatoes from that plant, right? I mean, that's my expectation, but let's see how much we get. And of course, should be able to adapt to the different climatic conditions. Yes? So this right here is important. Okay? Now, of course, we see that over a period of time, right? Over a period of time, if I need to check which seed that is there, right? Which seed is healthy and which seed is not healthy, which seed is bad, right? So then we see that in case, how will I know? You can try this at home as well, right? You can try this at home where normally your mama would have kept pulses and she would have kept all the dals and everything separately, right? So what you can do, you can take a little bit of it, put it in a cup of water, right? You can try this. You can put it in a cup of water and you can see what will happen. There will be some which is going to sink at the bottom, right? So we see that there will be some which will sink to the bottom and some which will float on top, right? So some that is going to float on top. Now the ones that are floating on top are damaged seeds, right? Now why are they damaged? Or how do I know that damaged seeds will float? Why are they floating on top, right? What is the reason behind it? Normally damaged seeds that are there, they are very light, right? They are light in nature. Now they are light in nature, why? Because they are hollow on the inside, right? So inside they are hollow, they are not there, which is why they are floating easily. But on the other hand, the healthy seeds are good, right? Healthy seeds are good, so they are not damaged on the inside, which is why in this particular case, we see that they sink to the bottom, right? Yes. Now quickly to summarize, some of you are like, ma'am, can you please talk a little slower? Okay. Sorry about that, right? But again, quickly to revise, why should we select the seeds we sow, right? What is the reason behind it? We need to select the seeds we sow because we know that whatever seed we use, they should be healthy seeds and they should make sure that they enable, right? Or rather, I would say they should be able to grow in whatever, even though if there is change in climatic condition, they should still be able to survive, right? They should be healthy and they should not just fall sick or get damaged by maybe some disease. Yes, so this right here is important. Now, normally earlier in the days, people would use broadcast method, right? So people would use a broadcast method of sowing seeds. Yes, so how many of you have seen this broadcast method, right? So as you can see, broadcast method that is there is when you have a piece of land, right? So you imagine if I had seeds, I have this piece of paper with me. I take my hand and I just scatter the seeds, say, I'm throwing seeds and I'm just scattering, right? I don't care where my seed is falling, but I'm just scattering my seed, right? So that means my seed is going to fall in random places, right? Now, what is the disadvantage of me doing this? This is it's very easy for me as a farmer. I just need to throw the seeds randomly, but it's not very ideal because some of the seeds are on the surface, right? So we see that some of the seeds that are there, we find them on the surface, yes? Which means what will happen? Some of them we see that there could be overcrowding, right? So we see that some of them will clump up in large areas here and they will overcrowd. That means when they start germinating and growing, we see that they will not grow properly. Then along with that, some of them are present very superficially, right? Or on the surface. Now if we are on the surface, what will happen? Very good, Advik. Birds will come and they will eat it, right? Birds will come and they will eat all of this. And along with that, there's a lot of wastage also, right? Now along with this, very good, right? So we see that this right here is not sown at a proper depth as well, which is why in this case, we see that again, we have a seed drill method, and to overcome the broadcast method, we had funnel sowing, right? But funnel sowing again made sure that it was sown at a proper depth, but it was manual, which took a lot of time. Which is why here we have a seed drill, right? A seed drill is a machine that ensures that all the seeds are sown equally or equidistant from each other and they are sown at a proper depth. Yes? So now are you clear? They can ask you what are the advantages of a seed drill. Now you know the answer. Yes? Okay. You are the first teacher who called me Advik. What is it? I'm sorry. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, no problem, Advik. Yes. Germination tobia is basically when the seed grows, right? When the seed starts to grow and the embryo, the structure inside starts to grow and a new plant arises, which is what we call as seed, is called as germination. Yes? Okay. See, Sakshi, like I said, structurally, if you look at a plow and a hoe, they are different, right? You are in plow, you have a plow shaft, you have a plow share, right? And we know that plows that are there can be used manually or they can be attached to a bull so that, or an animal which can again do the process. In hoe, mainly you see that you may have a flattened structure that is there and mainly it is manual, right? Yes, hybrid seeds that are there are basically those seeds, right? So these seeds can be, they could be those high yielding varieties that are there, right? So they are modified in their own way so that they get the best yield, right? So we see that this is what we understand as high yielding varieties or hybrid seeds that are there, okay? Funnel sowing may basically you will put the seed here, right? You will put all the seeds here. They will fall like this and then finally, they'll fall here and then they'll come down and then they will be sown. Yes? Okay. So now you have sown your seeds. Yes? Awesome. We have sown our seeds and I'm sure that we are feeling confident that now, ma'am, everything ho gaya, right? All good to go. Okay. So we've sown our seeds. Now next up, I'm going to pick up the pace, right? I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. Yes. I'll move a little bit to the side and I'm going to maybe take 15 more minutes to finish the remaining one, right? So, storage may E went to the bottom, it is there correctly only. 15 minutes more and then I will finish I will get to Menti, right? So, give me 15 more minutes. Now, 15 more minutes I will wind up the whole chapter. But, if I do in 15 minutes, I may not be able to take your doubts. So, how about I take your doubts towards the end? How about that? Shall I take your doubts towards the end? Are you okay with that? Yes? Yes or no? Then you should not tell, this ma'am is ignoring me. I am asking your opinion and only I am doing this. Later, like, ma'am, you are mean, you are not taking my doubt. Ma'am, आप ऐसे ही करते हो, ऐसा मत सुनाओ मुझे. Right? I am trying my best. Right? ठीक है. So that means that, attention, eyes, ears, nose, everything, all senses should be directed at me, right? You should be directed at me at what I am saying. I will take it slowly, but I will be very concise about it. Yes? NCRT solutions are available, don't worry, okay? Yes, Bhavya, you can come back later and watch it, okay? Awesome. So I will take your doubts on it. I'm going to get started. Now that we have sown our seeds, we also see that there is a very important step that we need to consider, which is addition of nutrients. Now we have already established that nutrients are necessary for plants to grow because we know that these nutrients are utilized for various processes within the plants. Now normally it is found in soil, right? So normally we know that plants that are there, they are found in soil, yes? And we know that over a period of time, if I keep growing my plants and I give my soil some amount of time, my soil will bring back these nutrients. How will my soil bring back these nutrients? Because my soil is also home to various microorganisms. So we discussed the process of decomposition and all of that. We know that over a period of time, the soil is going to bring back these nutrients. Now this process of bringing back is what you will hear as replenished, right? This word replenished will be there in your textbook. The word means replenished means to bring it back. Now for that, what should I do? If my soil has to bring it back, I should leave my land as it is. If I keep growing plants, soil does not have time to bring back nutrients. No, because plant will also utilize the nutrient. It is kind of like saying, I want you to, what do you say? I want you to maybe empty a trash bin, right? I want you to empty the trash bin. But if you keep putting trash inside it, even before I'm able to empty, if I keep throwing trash, I keep bringing trash again and again, there's no time for me to go empty and come because trash is still coming. It's never going to be empty. So it's kind of like that. So this process, right, if I have to let my soil bring back the nutrients, my piece of land that is there has to be left empty. And this process is what we call as land fallowing, right? Or this is what we call as fallowing. Yes? Now this is one way. Now you think about it logically. We have to grow so many crops for so many people, right? Our Indian population is growing, right? It's not be like, oh, say next 3 months I will not grow any crops because my land is going to fallow, right? So we cannot do this, right? We cannot be like, hey, no nutrients available. Which is why we had to come up with a way in which, okay, even if my soil doesn't get enough time, is there any way in which I can supply the nutrients to the soil? Okay, soil, you don't take tension. I will give you nutrients. So that is the process of addition of nutrients, right? So this is what we call as addition of nutrients. Now, in what way am I going to do this? I will do this in the process of either adding manure, right? Manures or fertilizers. Now, what are manures? Now students, exam point of view, this topic is very important, which is why I need you all to focus. Yes? So what are manures? Manures are basically organic substances. That means they are obtained from living organisms, right? They are obtained from living organisms. And they are prepared by the decomposition of kitchen waste and the animal waste that is there, right? So now, of course, in this particular case, right, we see that this process of addition of manure is what we call as manuring, right? Process of adding manure to the soil is manuring. Yes? Okay. Now, why am I adding this manure? We are adding manure because it's very helpful, right? It's organic. It's coming from living organisms. So that way it is very helpful. So we see that it enhances water retention, right? Now, what is water retention? Very fancy word. Basically the soil, no, we know that soil has water, it holds water. Yes. Now when you add manure, it improves or helps the soil to hold that water better, right? So that is what we understand as water retention. Now along with that, it improves the soil texture also, okay? Now along with this, it helps in exchange of gases or allows the roots to breathe and increases the friendly microbes and improves or adds humus to the soil, right? So these are the advantages, and trust me students, How many of you have got this question in your UT unit test? 3 mark question you would have got on this, right? 3 marks आराम से ऐसे हो जाएगा if you remember advantages of manure. Yes, so this right here is going to be very, very important. If it does not come in UT exam, it is going to come in half yearly exam. That is my promise to all of you, because as teachers this is a concept which you have to understand, right? What is the benefit of using manure? Now, it's not that manure, just because it is organic, it is eco-friendly, right? We see that just because it is organic and eco-friendly, we see that, oh, everything is good about manure. There is no problem, right? So, in this case, we see that there are some limitation, right? Or there are some disadvantages, right? Now, what are the disadvantages? I don't know how much nutrient is present. I am saying it is rich in nutrient, but what nutrient? I don't know. Right? I don't know how much of what is there. I don't know how much of nitrogen is there, right? Or I don't know how much of, I don't know exactly how many nutrients are present, right? Sometimes my soil will require more nitrogen, but maybe the manure that I have is not having enough nitrogen in it, or it does not have enough phosphorus in it, right? So there could be some disadvantages in this case. That is why they came up with the concept of fertilizers, right? Now, what are fertilizers? First and foremost, we see that fertilizers that are there, they are man-made, right? Now here if you see, they are obtained from living organisms. Here this is little more artificial and it is obtained from inorganic salts. That means that I am synthesizing it or I am producing it inside my laboratory. Which is why we see that factories that are there, or fertilizers that are there, they are made in factories, right? Large scale manufacture. Now here they are rich in specific nutrients. Many of you are asking me, ma'am, ये NPK क्या होता है, right? Now NPK that is there is nitrogen. We see that phosphorus, right? Phosphorus, and we have potassium, right? Now these are essential for the plants, which is why a common example is NPK that is there. It's an example of fertilizer. Now along with that, right, we see that urea, potash, superphosphate, ammonium sulfate, right, they are all examples of these fertilizers. Now, because these fertilizers have very specific nutrients, no, we see that this enhances the growth of the plant. So, we are providing exactly what the plant requires, exact amount of those nutrients, which is what is helping the plant to grow very well. But, if you think about it, right, as you see, there's a lot of disadvantages. Especially when it talks about overuse of these fertilizers, no? Especially when you think about it, any chemical that you overuse, it can have harmful effect. Now here your fertilizers, to an extent they improve the soil fertility, right? They improve how much nutrients are there. But if you overuse these fertilizers, no? At the end of the day, these fertilizers are chemicals, which means that if you add chemicals to a place where you have a lot of organisms, right, microorganisms, you come and you add lot of chemicals to it, it will change the chemical nature of the soil, right? It is going to change the chemical nature, and if it changes the chemical nature, what will happen? Those organisms will not survive, so it will kill all the beneficial microbes, right? And of course we see that it will reduce the soil fertility, right? It will reduce the soil's fertility, and it will disrupt. So now what has happened? Naturally what the soil was making nutrients, we have gone and added some chemical substances and we have disrupted the nutrient balance, right? Which is why we see that it does not contribute to any organic matter getting added at any point. And of course eventually we see that it can lead to eutrophication as well, right? So we see that these are some negative effects of fertilizers. So they can ask you this question also, students, please take a screenshot, right? Students, take a screenshot because you can get this question in your exams, right? As to what are the disadvantages of fertilizers. Yes? NPK stands for nitrogen, potassium, and it stands for nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Yes? Okay. So in this case, if you see, should you use a manure or a fertilizer? As much as possible, using organic matter is beneficial for the soil. But in some cases, if high yield is necessary, using moderate amount of fertilizer is what is recommended, right? So this is a screenshot for manure which you can take, otherwise you can rewind back. Mannat Bacha, please don't spam, I've taken your name as well, right? Yes. Why is urea rich in manure? Urea is a rich source of fertilizer, nitrogen, right? So this right here is again an example of a fertilizer. Now in all these cases, right, in case now manure has its disadvantage, we see that, I see that fertilizer has some disadvantage. So what can I do? Is there some effective way to get around it? So apart from just adding manure and fertilizers, we also see that changing or making some differences in our cropping techniques can also help in utilizing the soil nutrients effectively. Now what do I mean by this? It means that instead of taking one piece of land and growing one crop, right, I can maybe change the way I grow my crops. So I could do one thing where I say let's grow one crop, right? So let's assume that I grow wheat, right? I grow wheat in one season. Now instead of continuously growing wheat one after the other, I can stop to grow another crop, maybe like pea plant or maybe some pulses, right, or maybe some grams, right? So maybe I could use a Rabi legume, right? I could use a Rabi leguminous plant. Now here we are talking about leguminous plants, right? Now what are these leguminous plants? We know that what is special about leguminous plants? Can you tell me? Yes, what is special? We know that leguminous plants that are there have rhizobium in their root nodules, right? So we know that they have rhizobium. Why is this rhizobium so special? Yes, rhizobium is special because they help in fixing the nitrogen. Second chapter may we have learnt, we have learnt that nitrogen cycle is there. Rhizobium has a very important role, which is why we see that this rhizobium will improve the soil fertility. So that technically what I've done, I grew my crop, I grew crop number 1, then I grew this leguminous plant. And it's not that these leguminous plant I'm growing for time pass. I can use these leguminous plant. But side by side I'm getting one advantage, right? I'm getting one advantage that my soil is also becoming fertile, which means that later on I can grow my other plant. So here when I am growing plants alternatively, right? When I grow plants alternatively such that the nutrients can be replenished or it can be brought back to the soil, this process is what we call as crop rotation, right? Easy peasy. This is all we need to know, right? So roots of leguminous plants add nitrogen-rich nutrients to the soil and they help with the process of nitrogen fixation. So with this we have looked at step number 3, which is addition of nutrients. Now we have irrigation, right? Now irrigation that is there is also very, very important because so far we looked at nutrients. But we know that a plant is not going to grow effectively if water is not provided, right? Now water is also necessary. Yes, I am not angry with anybody, Mannat. Please don't feel that way. See students, like I said, I am summarizing it. I am not taking doubts at the moment, not because of any other reason. It is just because we can take the doubts even when I am doing the mentee quiz. But right now we are focusing on summarizing it, right? So I hope all of you are able to follow what I am teaching, right? I hope all of you have not fallen asleep in between. Arey ma'am to padha rahi hai, kaise padhana hai, I'm not paying attention. This is very, very important that we pay attention, right? Yes, crystal clear, that is all that I need to know. Right? Like I told you, I will take time for irrigation. Baki 3 topics fatafat ho jayega. Now irrigation is important because students, you get important concepts from this. See, if you have, I always tell you all, if you are here to study, you pay attention because if you are spending so much time in watching this video, you might as well study properly, no? Why would you want to spend time, not pay attention to me, then later you will go back, study again, you will end up spending so much time. You be smart about it, right? Yes, ma'am, revision is boring. Koi nahi, you will become an expert in this, that is all, right? So now of course, when we talk about irrigation, what is irrigation? Irrigation is nothing but supply of water to crops at regular intervals, right? And we see that water is necessary to increase the growth of the plant. Now rivers, tube wells, dams are all different ways in which we can get water. Now why is irrigation necessary? It is not pre-recorded. I can see your comment, Ayush. It's just that I am not taking comments, right? So why is irrigation necessary? Because of course water is necessary for seed germination. For a seed to grow, it requires water, right? Now for minerals also to be taken up, it requires water, right? Then of course water protects protects these plants from frost and hot air currents as well, right? So we see that is why irrigation is important. Students, as you all see, 3-mark question is going to come from this topic. Fatafat take a screenshot, or please make sure that you star mark this topic in your textbook. Yes? Okay. Shashwat, pay attention. Now, of course, we know that there are various ways in which irrigation, right? Various ways in which irrigation can be provided. Yes? So, we see that earlier back in those days, there were various traditional methods, right? So, here you have chain pump, you have moat, you have dhekli and rahat. Now, in all these cases, right, let me first tell you, first and foremost, you don't need to go too much into the details of it, because as per NCERT, it's not there. Ankita ma'am has gone in and dwelled into the details of it, right? But mainly, if you look at it here, we see that in all these cases, we see that these kind of irrigation methods, they were manual, which means in all these cases, if you look at the images, no, you see that there is manual labor which is involved, right? Which means that they were getting, what do you say, it was very time taking, right? It was very time taking. Now, along with that, what did we see? We also saw that there was wastage of water, right? So, this question can come in your exams. What are the disadvantages of traditional methods of irrigation, right? What are the disadvantages? Firstly, it was manual, lot of effort was going in, there was a lot of wastage of water, right? Now, students who want the definition of irrigation, it is right here. Please take a screenshot, right? Yes, very good, very good. It was not very efficient, exactly. Very good, Angel, very good. Okay? Ma'am, does irrigation affect soil texture? Not necessarily, but of course, if the soil has the ability to hold more water, that makes irrigation much better, right? Okay. Now, of course, as we all see, right, we see that modern methods are much better, because we saw that with modern methods, we were able to prevent any wastage, right? So, we were able to prevent wastage. Now, in this case also, we see that there are two types, right? We have your drip irrigation and sprinkler irrigation. Now, how many of you have seen in lawns, right? Especially in lawns or in gardens, right? Normally, to water the gardens and large areas of land, we see that a sprinkler is used. How many of you have seen sprinklers? Anybody who has seen sprinklers? Yes? Very good. We'll all seen. It will be there, no, many of them, and there will be water which will get sprinkled all around, right? Yes, school mein normally hota hai. If you have a big garden in your school, parks mein also you will find the sprinkler. No, in your house also it is there. That is awesome. Yes? So normally in all these cases, we see that in sprinkler method, the water gets sprinkled like rain, right? So we see that as though if it is raining, we see that the water will get sprinkled. Yes? And we see that this is normally, this kind of sprinkler method is preferred on uneven land where sufficient amount of water is not really available. In uneven land, this is the best way. So what we see that there is a tube-like structure, and on the upside there is a nozzle. What is a nozzle? It's like a triangular shaped thing through which your water will be sprinkled, right? So this is what we understand, and there are rotating pipes also, right? Rotating pipes are also present, or pipes having rotating nozzles. Now on the other hand, you have drip irrigation. Now drip irrigation is when water falls drop by drop. So again we see that there are many pipes and there are small nozzles, right, which are present or which will provide water near the roots drop by drop. Yes, and we see that here water is not wasted at all. So especially in places which have very little water available, right, or in water scarcity, we see that in such cases the drip irrigation method is better. Which is more economical? Your drip system is more economical, right? It's more advantageous because normally very less water wastage is there. Yes, so these are the two things, and this question is short. Advantages of modern methods or advantages of drip irrigation over your traditional methods, right? So they will ask you this particular question as well. Now with this, of course, we have covered the important topics. Now we will move on to the last three topics. Yes. So now, of course, next up is removal of weeds. Yes. Now we see that we have prepared our soil, we have sown our seeds, added our manure, we have added water, everything is good to go, right? Everything here is now good to go. But What also happens is that sometimes along with our crops, some unnecessary crops will also start to grow, right? So these undesirable or unnecessary crops that grow, or unnecessary undesirable plants that grow along with my crop, right? That is what we call as weeds. Now why is it that we should, care about this? Because these weeds that are there, they are also plants, they are also growing, which means that all this water, nutrient and everything that I am providing, they will compete with my crop. Now when it's competing with my crop, it's bad for me, right? Because it can affect the growth of my crop, which is why I need to get rid of them. So removal of weeds is what we call as weeding, right? So I can do this manually by using khurpi or various other tools, or I can use chemical substances like weedicides. So 2,4-D is an example of weedicides. We see that even glyphosate is an example of this, right? Now somebody asked me, ma'am, is using weedicides harmful to the farmer? See, they are chemical substances, so if proper protection is not taken place by the farmer, it could be harmful, right? There are slight chances. Yes, examples of weedicides, 2,4-D and glyphosate, right? Glyphosate. I hope I've got the spelling right. My spelling could be wrong. Okay. Awesome. Examples of weeds are amaranthus. Exactly. Amaranthus is a very common example. There's also one more which you can let me know in the comments. Now, of course, once I've done all of this, I will wait for my crops to grow patiently. And once my crop has matured and it is fully ready, I will cut my crops. So the cutting of crops after it is fully mature is what we call as harvesting. Now, how can I harvest? I can harvest it by using these tools like a sickle, or I can use a harvester, right? Now, once it is harvested, we see that, let's assume I harvest wheat, right? Let's assume I harvest a wheat plant. Now, when I harvest a wheat crop, do I need the entire crop? Do I need the whole thing? Yes or no, right? Do I need the whole crop, or do I just need a part of it? If I'm taking wheat and I am cutting it, I will need only a part of it, right? And which part, can you tell me? Which part of wheat will I require? Yes? Which part of wheat will I require? Exactly. I only need the grains, right? What I am using? I am using wheat grains, right? Yes, the seed. Very good. I am using this. So which is why I need to first get rid, or what do I know? What do I need to do? I need to separate, right? So I see that I need to separate my seeds from the stalk, right? So I need to separate my seeds from the stalk. You can say seed, or the ideal term is grain, right? Grain is a type of seed only. So as you can see in this particular case, you take it and you hit so that all the seeds go, right? So this separation of seed from stalk is what you call as threshing, and it can be done manually by hitting like this, or it can be done by using a combine, right? So a combine will help. A combine is a machine that helps in both harvesting and it also helps in threshing, right? It helps with both these processes. Now once it is done, I have got my grain, right? I have got my grain. But my grain will have an outer covering, right? It will have an outer covering that I don't really want, which is what we call as a chaff, right? I want this hard thing to be gone away, right? I only want the thing inside, which is why we see that in this particular case, I can do it manually. I can do this process of winnowing, where I separate my chaff from my seed, right? And this I can do it manually, or I can do it with the help of, it will be done manually, or I can do it with a modern machine, right? Easy peasy. Now once this is done, I need to make sure that I store everything properly. Now storage could also be a challenge, because sometimes rats and insects can eat my grains, right? Or some microorganisms can go and damage my grains. And in case if I did not dry my grains properly, these microorganisms can affect it. Which is why I need to make sure I sun dry my grains before storing, and I add neem leaves so that it will keep the pests away. Yes, and I can store it at a large scale in silos or granaries, right? Now last but not the least is that we have covered all about cultivating crops. ठीक है? Now the next part of it is animal husbandry, and today we are only going to do a little bit of animal husbandry. What is animal husbandry? Rearing. It's a practice of rearing and taking care of animals at a large scale so that we get food based products, right? So we do cattle farming because we get milk and milk based products. We do poultry farming because with poultry farming we are able to get eggs and meat. And last but not the least, we see that fishery provides fish meat as well, right? So with this student, right, with this, हो गया chapter का revision, right? We are done. How are we feeling? Are we excited? अभी मेंटी होगा. All of you का जोश. Suddenly in between everybody went to sleep like मारे मैम बहुत boring है. But before I do that, I want to take 2 minutes. Sunflower and soyabeans, Naman, are grown to do crop rotation so that we can replenish the soil, right? So that's why we do it. Advantages and disadvantages of traditional methods of irrigation. Traditional methods of irrigation, see, there are disadvantages in traditional method because of wastage of water, lot of manual effort, right? Yes. Okay. Examples of Z leguminous crops. I will have to check and let you know, right? Ma'am, can weeding be done with sickle? Preferably they use it with khurpi or a hoe, right? Preferably is khurpi or hoe. Yes, ma'am, which is the best time for weeding? Best time for weeding would normally be a few months after sowing of seeds, when you start seeing the initial things apart from your crop and you see other plants growing. That is the best time, right? Ma'am, sometimes irrigation is done in the preparation of soil in order to do leveling, right? We do irrigation in the beginning so that we can level the soil and help in the preparation, right? Okay students, I hope all of you have enjoyed this chapter explanation. I will take more of your doubts, but before that I am going to go to the part for which you have been waiting for the most. That is our 15 questions ka Menti quiz, right? So everybody, the Menti code is 1888419, right? So let me quickly switch to the Menti screen. In the meanwhile, you can use this code and you can join in. Yes? How to join Menti? Open Chrome, open another tab, right? And then type in the code www.menti, type www.menti.com and put this code. Difference between grain and wheat. Wheat is a plant. The seeds of the wheat is what you call as grains, right? That is what we call as grains. Yes, I remember. Today also I feel that way because I have a panka. Thank you so much. Lots of love to all of you as well. Fatafat, I'll quickly switch my screen. Yes, everybody, I hope you can see my screen. Are you all ready? Jaldi, go ahead. Join the code 1888419. Difference between winnowing and threshing. Threshing is separation of seed from stalk. Winnowing is separation of seed from chaff, which is the dry, unwanted part, right? Yes. Quickly, everybody. Why is irrigation important? To provide water, right? Yes. What will happen if soil texture becomes better? Better growth of plant. What is monoculture? Growing one single crop in a piece of land. Megha is monoculture. Yes? Okay. 15 questions are there today. I look very big on screen. I'll try to move as much as possible. Right? Are you ready? NPK full form, Sakshi. Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Yes? If plants grow faster, see, why do plants grow faster when we add fertilizer? Because it has a definite amount of nutrients. Why do plants grow so slowly when manure is there? Because even though manure adds nutrients, it does not have fixed amount of nutrients, which is why we see that it is relatively lesser. Devananda, not really. Not much wastage of water. Not much. Transplantation is when you first grow the crop separately in a nursery and then you move it into a piece of land, right? Okay, I'm going to pick up the pace now, students. Jaldi, don't forget to hit the like button on the video. Very important that you like this video, right? Okay, first question, everyone, on your screens now. अरे 143 बहुत कम है. Arrange the following agricultural practices in the order in which they are followed. So as you can see, you have 4 of these from which you need to identify the correct option. So first arrange them in the correct way and then you will be able to give me the answer for the same, right? So I'm going to have this open. This is very simple. Question is on the screen. Just give me one moment. Okay, very good all of you, very good. You have 2 more seconds left actually in the meanwhile. Well done all of you, well done, right? The correct answer here is 5. So basically 5 here was pointing, 5 here was preparation of soil, right? So we see that 5 here was preparation of soil. Then of course after this we had 2 which was sowing of seeds. Then of course we had 4 here which was going to be irrigation, followed by 1 which was harvesting, and then we had 3 which was storage, right? So the correct answer here is option B. So students, please focus on the options carefully. Leaderboard after 5 questions, okay? Next question everyone on your screens, right? Now, this will be an easy one. Shout out to Ashok. If you were a farmer, which of the following methods will you use to separate good quality and viable seeds from a heap of grains after harvest? Sunki, love you too, bacha, lots of love. You have 4 options here from which you need to identify the correct answer. Checking weight of grains, checking grains under sunlight, immersing grains in water, sowing seeds and waiting for germination. Now I'm sure you know the answer to this. Very good, right? Very, very good. See, as you all know, we have discussed. Every question we discussed today are the topics I've taught you. Students who made mistake, I hope it is a misclick. Otherwise, you've not paid attention to me today because you're like, ma'am, we will not listen to you, but we will pay attention in Menti, right? So this is where you will not necessarily make mistakes. So now, when you immerse it in water, what will happen? Your healthy seeds that will go to the bottom. Your damaged seeds will float on top, and that way you will be able to separate your good quality seeds and viable grains, right? And we see that all of this is not going to help in knowing whether we are going to get viable seeds or no. So the correct answer is option C. Yes. Code is 1888419. Code is on your screen. Yes. Ma'am, it was misclick. Okay, system. Okay. ठीक है. Moving on to question number 3. Yes. Question number 3 on your screens now. It's an assertion reason question. The loosening of soil allows the roots to breathe easily. Reason being that the loosened soil helps in the growth of microorganisms that add organic matter or humus to the soil. Assertion reason question. Yes, Vedan, hello. I want to see how many of you would be able to get this particular answer. I'm actually very curious to know. Very good, everybody. Very good. See, assertion reason. So when you solve assertion reason questions, there are 2 steps to solving this, and this will come only with practice, right? So what will happen? Step number 1 that is there. Oh, you'll not be able to see step number 1 behind me. So step number 1 is to make sure that you treat them as individual statements, right? So here the loosening of soil allows roots to breathe easily. Statement is true. Loosened soil helps in growth of microorganisms and adds organic matter. This is true, which means that you can eliminate out these 2. Both statements are true. Now the next option is to identify if it is the correct reason. Then how will you know if it is the correct reason? After assertion statement, ask yourself why or how. Now, if I say the loosened soil allows the roots to breathe easily, and I say why, the answer should be that plowing and tilling of soil aerates the soil and thereby it is able to breathe. Is the root breathing because microorganisms are present? Yes or no? Are the roots able to breathe because microorganisms and organic matter is present? That is a different thing which allows soil to have more nutrients in them or fertility of soil. That has nothing to do with breathing of roots or exchange, right? Which is why we see that R is not the correct explanation. So ask yourself this question why and see if this reason is justifying it. It is as simple as that, okay? Now let's move on to question number 4, everybody. Not a problem if it's a misclick, Ajay, but learn, okay? See, be little more careful. Good, Archana, good, good. Question number 4, everybody, on your screens now. Name the microorganism that performs nitrogen fixation in roots of leguminous plants. Easy peasy. Yeast, amoeba, rhizobium or earthworm. Nitrogen fixation. How to get to class on time? Hit the subscribe button so you get notifications. Very good. See, that's why I focus. Nitrogen fixation, we know that is a conversion of atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms, right? So we know that this is done by the rhizobium that is present in the root nodules of leguminous plants. So correct answer here is option C. Easy peasy question. Don't make silly mistakes in such questions, right? Question number 5, everyone, on your screens now. The process of loosening and turning of soil is called as dash. Is it irrigation and manuring, digging and winnowing, tilling and plowing, or harvesting and storage? Menti code 1888419 on your screens. I told you, there are 15 questions. First 5 is cakewalk. Very easy questions. So proud. I will give all of you 3 hearts from my side, right? So the process of loosening and turning of soil is also called as tilling or plowing. Easy peasy. So with this, let's have a look at the first leaderboard. Let's see what the first leaderboard has to say. I know this is very simple. Uske baad you see the questions. So I can see that Amish Krishna 10 is the fastest, followed by Anvesha on top. I can see Shrijan class 8, Manaswini, Kushank, Anushka, I have Aisha, Crazy, Sagar from UP, Nitya, love you ma'am, love you too bacha, that all of you are here. Ma'am, why are we said to have leguminous plants in between? Because leguminous plants have rhizobium that helps in nitrogen fixation, Fatima, that helps in enriching the soil, right? 12th place ma'am, 68th. Don't worry. See, whatever your rank is right now, please make sure that you write it down. Yes? Now what I need you to do, this is what your focus should be and this is what is progress. From 60, aim to at least become 50. From 50, move to 40. Then that is progress that you are making, right? So constantly go ahead and look at whether you are making progress today. It is not about being number 1, but it is also always becoming a better version of yourselves. Yes? Yes, Riya, please ask me your doubts. Ma'am, can we do irrigation before plowing? In some cases, water is added to level the soil, right? What is the use of a seed drill that is there is normally used for sowing? Moving on, everybody, I want to pick up the pace, right? So let's have a look. Question number 6 on your screen now. Yes? Question number 6. Weeds are the dash, okay? They are the main crop. They are insects and pests. They are unwanted plants that grow along with the main crop. Or they are chemical substances. Riya, you ask me your doubt. Don't wait for me to ask what your doubt is. This is also easy peasy. Super duper simple. Very good, everyone. Very good. So proud of all of you, right? What are weeds? Weeds that are there are basically unwanted crops that grow along with the main crop. So Menti code is 1888419. Please help your friends out if they ask for the Menti code. Moving on, everybody, let's have a look at question number 7. Next week, microorganisms. Question number 7. Question number 7 is transplantation of a seedling is done for which among the following crops? Cocoa, rice, mango, coffee. See, what is transplantation? Growing the crop outside in a nursery and then transplanting it to the main field, right? Yes. Thank you so much, Madhav, that you are able to pay attention. I've explained this as a matter of fact. Ma'am, production again. Ria, production. See, basically crop production that is there, we have 7 steps, right? So we see that in crop production, what do? We grow it at a large scale. Yes? We listen to you. So proud. Yes? Very, very good. So now, of course, in this particular case, right, we know that in rice, we normally do transplantation of the seedling. So we grow it a little bit in the nursery. Whatever grows are the ones we transplanted into the main crop so that they will be able to grow. Yes? Okay. Moving on, everybody, for class 8, right? The class is tomorrow. Saurabh sir is taking class on force and pressure. With me, it's going to be next week for microorganisms. Yes? Okay, unknown, you start from the beginning, put it in 2x, you will be able to understand. Question number 8, everybody. Soham, rhizobium is a microorganism found in root nodules of leguminous plants that help in nitrogen fixation. Yes? Okay. Leveling of soil helps to prevent what? Soil erosion, cultivation, sowing, drought. This is little indirect. Little indirect, but I'm sure it's easy. I'll explain. Very good, all of you, very good. So I like that you understood. What is leveling of soil? Making sure that we get rid of the crumbs and we level the land. Why do we do that? So that there is no removal of the topsoil by soil erosion, right? So it's not because of any other reasons, right? Drought is different. What is drought? Drought is a condition when there's not enough water that is supplied, right? So leveling of soil has nothing to do with water not being there for a prolonged period of time. Yes? And sowing and cultivation is not definitely the answer. So correct answer is option A. Soham Galgut. Hybridization is a little high-end concept which you learn in grade 9. You have another extension of this chapter which is improvement in food resources, okay? But basically in hybridization, what happens is you take 2 varieties of crops, okay? You will find something you like about plant A, you like something about plant B. You will do this process of hybridization to bring the best of both worlds. So it's as simple. I'm oversimplifying it. You'll learn more about it in the higher grades. Question number 9, jaldi, jaldi. What is weeding, Toiba? Toiba, that is removal of weeds. Compost is what? What is compost? Manure, it's fertilizer, it is pesticide, it is weedicide. Ria, I cleared your doubt. Very good, everybody. Very, very good, right? So now, of course, we know that compost, right? But we know that compost is basically manure, right? These are all chemicals and manufactured. While in this case, compost that is there is basically again obtained by decomposition, which can be used as manure, right? Moving on to question number 10, after which we have leaderboard number 2. So code is 1888419. Please join in. Yes? Okay, moving on, everybody. Question number 10. Which among the following should be used by a farmer with a large farm to harvest his crops efficiently and quickly? Should he use kurpi? Should he use a combine? Should he use a sickle or a seed drill? We are talking about him harvesting his crops quickly and efficiently. Yes? Students, before we move on to last 5 questions, don't forget to hit the like button on this video, right? Very important to like this video, share this video with your friends, very, very important. If you like the way we teach and revise, you can download the app as well, right? Okay. Arey, it's okay if misclick happened. I know, see, that's why I underlined the keyword. Harvesting. What do you use seed drill for? Primarily for sowing, right? And we're talking about harvesting it quickly and efficiently, which means what? We use a combine, right? A combine, basically. Herbarium that is there is basically wherein you are able to have species of plants preserved for a long. It helps with preservation. Kurpi we learned, right? Kurpi is a tool that helps us with weeding, removal of weeds. Sickle helps us with harvesting, but this is again very manual. It's a manual method, right? Okay. Okay, so let's move on, everybody. Let's have a look at, just give me one moment. So let's quickly move on and see what the leaderboard has to say. Yes? Alright, 10 more minutes. How much more time? 5-10 minutes, not more than that. Anviti and many others. I can see Isma Khan is the fastest here, but I see that Kushank has made it to the top, followed by Anushka, Harsh, Ashish Singh Rajput, Sagar from UP, Manaswini, Isma, Lakshyata, Amish and Anvesha. You know what is a very interesting thing that I really liked is that a lot of the students whose names I'm seeing on the leaderboard, right? Especially Kushank, Anushka, Manaswini, Isma, Lakshyata, Anvesha, Amish and all of you. You're all very regular to class also, right? You're all very, very regular to class along with Anubhav and Saroj and Madhav, many others who are very regular. I know many of you are regular as well, right? But I'm very proud of all of you. Yes? Very, very proud. And like I said, don't see the names that are, as much as you'd want to see your name be in the top 10, you monitor your progress, your own progress. Don't look at others, right? Do not look at others. You monitor your own progress. That is what is most important. Yes? And on that note, Dhriti, yes, you are also very regular. I mean, Drishti, you are also very regular. I know that. Very good, all of you. Super proud. Lots of love. Sending you lots of hearts. All the way from Bangalore. Yes, BYJU'S is sending you a lot of hearts. Okay? Okay. Moving on, students. Let's move on. We are going to the next set of questions. Okay? Now, last 5 questions that are there are going to be Olympiad-based questions. So, any of you who are aspiring to give NSO, ANTHE, right, all of it, these questions are for you. Yes? See, bachas, I know it's a little late for all of you. I'll try my best to wind it up as soon as possible. Okay? Now, you have a diagram given to you here where you have cabbage, you have carrot, right? And you have a pea plant. Okay? Now, you need to identify what the figure is going to denote. Life cycle of plant, jhum cultivation, crop rotation or mixed cropping. So question number 11, this is going to be your question number 11 on your screens now. So you can answer on Menti. Same question, you can answer on Menti. Jhum cultivation, you learn in agriculture chapter in geography. Slash and burn cultivation, where you burn the piece of land and then you'll cultivate the crop. We learn about it. Or you can watch that video that I've already done. It's very nice. So sweet. Let us know in the comments of the video also. Our team will feel very happy to read that. Field fallow or land fallow is basically when you leave a piece of land empty for some time so that the nutrients can replenish. Vermicompost is the compost you get from earthworms, right? When they are involved in the process of composting, we see that, we call that as vermiculture, compost. Menti has its own mind. Ma'am, I have to ask, what is pollination? Transmission of pollen from anther to stigma is what we call as pollination. Yes? Okay. Very good, all of you, very good. That cyclic one, if leguminous plant is involved, you know that it is going to be crop rotation. Easy peasy. This is the next question. This is slightly tricky, but it's okay. It's assertion, reason, statement only. Sprinkler system is effective for irrigating areas having sandy soil. Reason being that sprinkler system involves pumping water under pressure through nozzles and spraying it over the soil like rain for proper distribution of water. Now you need to identify if both statements of true and this is correct explanation or no. Yes? You will see the question on Menti now. Yes, I remember all of you, Sharvi. I know, Pankaj, it's very hot here today. So I just stepped out to get a little bit of air. Very good. I still see answers coming my way. But let me tell you, I'm seeing a lot of correct answers. That's what I'm proud of. I see a lot of correct answers. Very good, students, very good, right? So here we know that sprinkler method is normally used for irrigating uneven land or soil as well, right? How? I told you, how or why? How or why? We know that it has those nozzles which are there under pressure, and we know that it goes under pressure and it falls like rain. So correct answer is option A. Yes? Okay. Moving on to question number 13, everybody, on your screens now. Yes? Ripan, what happened? It's a match the following. It's a very simple question. Match the following where you have column A, column B, and you need to identify the correct answer, right? Now, of course, the question will disappear in front of me, so I'll have to take it on my phone. Okay. This is very simple. I think it's there in NCRT. This is an NCRT question. Menti code 1888419 on your screens now. I do, Devananda. I do. Students, jaldi, jaldi. Give me the answer. Array, don't be. What can we do about internet? What is the use of this code? Ashok, you can go to www.menti.com and you can play as a live quiz. This is a live quiz that is happening. Very good, all of you. Very good. Now, of course, one that was there was basically your Tariff Crop, right? And you know that your Tariff Crop is going to be matched to E, which has paddy and maize, right? Now, option number 2 was Rabi Crops, and we know that Rabi could be matched to D, which is your wheat, gram, and all of that. Option 3 is chemical fertilizers. Yes. Now, your chemical fertilizers is going to be matched with option B, which suggests that there is urea and superphosphate. Last option is organic manure. Yes, and we know that organic manure that is there mainly includes animal excreta, cow dung, so on and so forth. So, correct answer is option D. So, any of you who made a slight mistake, I hope that all of you make sure that you get it rectified, right? Okay. Now, moving on, let's go on to question number 14. Last 2 questions. Ma'am, I got full marks. So proud to see that. Question number 14, everybody, on your screens. Fatafat, we'll finish. Identify X, Y, and Z. This is a proper, right? Proper Olympiad question that is there. You have X, Y, and Z, and you need to identify what are the processes X, Y, and Z. See, manure and compost may slight difference. Manuring may mainly animal excreta, all of that is incorporated, while in compost even vegetable peels and plant based could be there. So it's a minor difference. It's a Venn diagram. Yes, we are doing math now. Not much Benny vlogs. I don't know much of that. Jaldi, jaldi, everybody. It's not confusing. It's very easy. Let me tell you that. Of course, I know Hindi. Just that पढ़ाने में हिंदी बहुत ठीक ठाक नहीं है. Okay. Now let's do the diagram. See, I have it on my phone because the image disappears. So you'll have to give me one moment, okay? This was the Venn diagram given to us. This was X, right? This was Y and this was Z. Now this is showing that this is going to be harvesting process, right? This right here is going to be the threshing process and this right here is going to be weeding, right? Now we're talking about X, which is a machine that helps in threshing and harvesting. So X right here is a combine, right? Or a combine that helps with both the processes. Now what is Y? Y is something that will help us only in harvesting, right? It is going to be only in harvesting. So in this case, we know that, in this particular case, we know that Y is something that will help us in the same, right? So Y that is there is going to be mainly a sickle. So you could tell me, ma'am, it could be harvester also, option A is there. But your Q is weeding, right? What is helping us in weeding? It is going to be kurpi, not mainly sickle, right? So mainly it is going to be kurpi. So kurpi is a tool that is primarily used for the process of weeding. Yes, ma'am, but see, sickle can also be used. Now, if I say that plow is there or a hoe is there, we're saying that these are tools that are primarily used, right? They are primarily used for a process. Yes, so that is why you should see which is most often used. That is what I want you to understand. Quickly to define, threshing is removal, right? Removal of grain from stalk, that is threshing. Winnowing is separation of chaff from seed, right? Yes. Now moving on to the last question for the day. Question number 15. Yes? Utkarsh, kya hua? Why? See, understand that when you talk about agricultural tools, right? Agricultural tools are little tricky because it's not like one tool will do one function. Many tools will do many functions, right? Which is why what are we trying to tell you? What is the main function? See, Raj, what is the main function of a hoe or a plow? Primarily, it will help you in doing the process of primarily help in plowing of the field, right? But it can also help you with other ways. Similarly, kurpi ka primary function kya hai? Weeding. Yes? So I hope you are clear. Awesome. Now moving on to question number 15, everyone. Last question. Consider the following statements and select the statements that identify whether they are true or false, right? Jaldi, jaldi. 2 more minutes and we are done. Thank you, Aryan. Next class for biology. Tomorrow you have a class with Saurabh sir at 8 p.m. which is going to be force and pressure. With me next Thursday you have a class for microorganisms, right? On Friday, next Thursday. Microorganisms, friend and foe. Chemistry ka class would be next week, I think on Wednesday. So let me get the statements on my screen. Yes. Okay. This was a little hard, I know, but take your time and solve, not a problem, right? Good. I am proud that many of you got the correct answer. What did option number 1 tell? Option number 1. So let's write it in this manner. Option 1 says that Tariff crops are grown in winter season between October and March. Now when we talk about Tariff crops, we know that these are crops which are sown between June to September. So this statement is false. Now option 2 says that drip irrigation is useful for us in areas which have a shortage of water. Now this right here about drip irrigation is true. Now next up, what is the thing? Manures are specific in minerals? Absolutely not. They are not specific in minerals. Now we are left with option number 4 which says broadcasting of seed is done by seed drill. Absolutely not. This is false. So what is the combination? False, true, false, false. Which is why the correct answer is option number B. Yes? So for those of you who got confused, I hope all of you are clear with this. And with this we come to the end, right? Yes, we are towards the end of today's Menti quiz and today's class. It was almost for 2 hours today. And congratulations, Anushka. You've made it to the top 10 with 12,798 points, followed by Jahan, Kushank. I have SP Anushka, Sagar from UP, Harvi, Raj, Aditya, Shinjini, and Puffy, who have made it to the top 10. 53 to 2. That is crazy. I am the fastest. Oh, Aditya, congratulations. You are the fastest, right? Proud of all of you. Proud of you. Take a screenshot if your names are there, right? Isma, the notes will be available. Will be shared with you very, very soon, right? Yes, awesome all of you, awesome. I hope you all enjoyed today's class, right? Yes, I hope all of you enjoyed today's class, and this is your homework question, right? So I know all of you have to be homework heroes. So what if wheat is sown in Kharif season, what is going to happen? Let me know in the comments of this video, right? If wheat is sown in Kharif season, what is going to happen? So in case if there are some doubts, right? If there are some doubts that I have not taken up, let me know in the comments as well. I will definitely answer to you. And Manaswini, I hope I pronounced this properly as well. Do not forget to let me know in the comments of this video. If you've liked this video, do not forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button on the channel, because you know BYJU'S 6th, 7th, 8th has got you covered. Exam Edge will definitely help you with respect to your half-yearly exams, and we make you exam ready not just for your academic exams, but we help you with Olympiads, and we have a lot of interesting things coming your way. So all you need to do is to hit the subscribe button. If you stay till the very end, I know that now you are masters of crop production and management, and that's my promise always to all of you, right? That if you are here till the very end, I will promise that you will become experts of this chapter. So thank you so much everybody for being a part of today's class. Lots of love to all of you. Up until then, take care, lots of love, and bye-bye. Good night.